All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to look out and see so many students as well as our faculty today. So welcome. I'm glad to have you all here for our 2023 commencement. At the outset, I want to acknowledge and recognize our Vice Chancellor as well as our speaker for today, Dr. Sushil Chandra. So most of you probably know I am Dr. Derek. I am the Dean of the school. And so I really want to take a moment to sort of single out, acknowledge, and welcome the new batch to JSPC. So for all of our incoming students, it's a thrill to have you here at the start of this 4-year journey. If I could just real briefly maybe offer just a couple of words of advice, to me it really comes down to 3 things. One is academics, right? That's why you're here. You're here to learn, you're here to gain new knowledge, skills to sort of build and expand upon yourself. So make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. Hopefully at some point over the next 4 years, you're going to be sitting in a classroom. You're going to be hearing some topic, some discussion, and suddenly you sit up straight. You kind of take notice and you go, wow, this is amazing, right? This is exciting. This is what I want to do. And really that's the goal here, is to figure out what gets you personally interested, what gets you excited and motivated. The second part here is, of course, the social context, the social life. You're going to meet a lot of people here, batch mates, section mates, acquaintances, friends, close friends. I hope for all of you, you're able to find people that recognize you, that appreciate you, that lift you up, that push you to be the person that you want to be. And finally, of course, it's all about the health. Physical health, mental health. It's about taking care of yourself, eating right, getting the sleep, which I know is a real challenge for college students, right? Getting out, doing some exercise, joining a sports team. So across all of this, the goal is that, again, you will have an experience that you're going to reflect and look back on for the rest of your life. So at the outset today, if you would, I'd like all of our new batch 23 students, maybe look around, right? These are your neighbors. These are going to be the people you're going to be spending a lot of time with. So to get us started, I would like to ask for a round of applause for all of our new students. Fantastic. So we got a great lineup today. And first up, I'm really pleased to welcome our eminent Vice Chancellor, Professor Raj Kumar.
Very, very good afternoon to all of you. It's such a pleasure for me to welcome each one of you to this commencement lecture, but of course to the Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling and the OP Jindal Global University. At the outset, I want to take a moment to extend my warm welcome to our chief guest, who is himself a very distinguished scholar and researcher, Dr. Sushil Chandra, Dean and Professor at the School of Education at the Rishi Hood University, which is our neighboring institution. Dr. Chandra has been a scientist at the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences of the Department of Defense Research and Development Organization, part of the Government of India. Thank you very much, Dr. Chandra, for accepting our invitation and to be here and to be able to deliver a commencement lecture on a theme, cognitive change and challenge in metaverse. But I'm not going to speak about cognitive change. I just want to say that it's an absolute delight for me personally as Vice Chancellor of the university to welcome all of you. This university was established in the year 2009. In many ways, we have come a good long distance of 15 years. The journey has been truly phenomenal. Way back in the year 1998, I was a student at Oxford, where I was a Rhodes Scholar and pursuing my master's in law. I dreamt about the idea of building a university in India. I later went to Harvard, did another master's where I got a few more fellowships. I built on that idea, and then I was a lawyer in New York and taught in Japan and taught in Hong Kong. And all those years, I wrote a paper entitled Establishing India's First Global University, got to meet with an Indian benefactor named Naveen Jindal in the year 2006, spent a year persuading him and also in many ways reinforcing his own belief in the vision of India and for the future of higher education. By late 2007, he agreed to all of it, which is to make a substantial financial commitment. Second, to do it in a not-for-profit manner. And third, to let me have the academic freedom and autonomy and independence. He accepted all of it, invited me to move to India. Early 2008, I moved to India, and we began the journey right here. From land acquisition to formulation of curriculum, to course structure, to program development, to faculty recruitment plan, to student admissions process, to hiring of architects, construction engineers, contractors, and persuading the government of Haryana to pass a new law to establish the first private university in the state of Haryana. As late as 27th January 2009, the law was passed, and soon after I was appointed as the first Vice Chancellor of the university, and we began the journey of construction of campus, recruitment of faculty, and admission of students. As late as 30th September 2009, we began the first academic session of the first school of the university, Jindal Global Law School, with only 100 students and 10 full-time faculty members, 20 administrative staff, 4 classrooms, and housing for those 100 students in the then 54-acre campus. Nothing else was there here. We started in a very modest manner, and we grew from year to year. 2010 onwards, we started the business school and the School of International Affairs, the School of Public Policy, the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, the School of Journalism and Communication, the School of Art and Architecture, the School of Banking and Finance, the School of Environment and Sustainability, the School of Psychology and Counseling, the School of Languages and Literature, the School of Public Health and Human Development. Today we have 12 schools, 11,000 students, 1,200 full-time faculty members, 2,000 plus administrative staff, 100-acre fully residential campus with nearly 4 million square feet of built-up space, all of which part of a vibrant ecosystem in which the faculty members come from 51 countries in the world and all states and union territories of India. These are full-time faculty, and then the students end up coming from 60 countries as well as all states and union territories of India. In many ways, the students of the BA Honours in Psychology program that you are part of are joining this extraordinarily diverse community of faculty and students, and I am grateful to the leadership of your Dean, Professor Derek, who essentially joined our liberal arts school some time ago and assumed the leadership of this school when we were establishing the Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling. I'm grateful to all the colleagues of the psychology school for their contribution, especially Professor Kriti, who essentially knew Dr. Chandra from her research. I also want to thank and appreciate the contribution of the Dean of Academic Governance, Academic and Administrative and Admissions Office responsible Dean, Professor Upasana Mahanta, Professor Sridhar Patnaik, who is our Registrar. I want to end by saying that this is a very defining moment for all of you as students, because you are coming from a high school environment where most of which was restricted, and in many ways you were supposed to be listening to everything that your teachers and your parents had said. For the first time in your life, you are coming out of that ecosystem and you are entering into the portals of a higher education institution where there is enormous freedom. In a lot, there are hardly much of restrictions. But with freedom comes responsibility, and that's exactly what I hope you will. You will make the best use of the opportunity to be here. You will be learning and having fun, enjoy the campus experience. What COVID taught to all of us is that we can't take it for granted, right? 2 years we were stuck in our own homes and our environments. We couldn't meet people, engage with people in a meaningful manner. How long can we end up sitting in those Zoom and MS Teams screens? We have come a long way, and so treasure the moment of being together. The sense of togetherness and community that a fully residential campus can provide is a luxury that very few people can have, and I believe you are all indeed very privileged. I also want to mention that the Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling is a very, very interdisciplinary institution. There are many other opportunities that are available for you as students to take cross-listed courses across all schools and programs. Every day after 4 p.m. in the evening, we offer 400 plus cross-listed electives. As you grow up in your own journey, as you move into second year, for example, you may be in a position to take courses in other schools, and so be it in liberal arts school, in law school, in business school, you will be having that opportunity. Psychology, of course, has become a very, very important discipline. More recently, has been sought after by students. We started off our own psychology school in a very, hoping to do it in a very modest manner, but we admit nearly 200 students every year. In addition to the school, we have one of India's leading institutes called the Jindal Institute for Behavioral Sciences, which also does a lot of work relating to psychology, but also criminology, victimology, and other behavioral sciences work relating to mental health are also happening in that institute. And this school works very closely with the Institute of Behavioral Sciences too. Lastly, I want to say that this opportunity to be in an institution which is globally connected, which has opportunities for exchange programs, dual degree programs, study abroad programs, and also to have faculty and from different parts of India and the world is a fantastic opportunity for the students to make the best use of it. I sincerely hope that you will make the best use of this intellectual resource that the university has assembled for you, and you will grow both in terms of your intellectual engagement, but also help build meaningful friendships and lifelong relationships, all of which are so important for your future. I also want to mention that being a student of psychology, there are numerous opportunities out there as you look at your future as well. Today is not the time for you to talk about careers, but all I can say is that psychology is one such area where there's the possibilities to pursue numerous other areas, including from issues surrounding counseling and mental health research to all the way into business studies and organizational behavior and other types of areas to public health and of course to law and other areas, all of which is possible after having studied psychology. It's one such discipline which encompasses so many things in life, and so you are indeed in safe hands with the outstanding leadership of our dean, but also other faculty members at the Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you the very best. Heartiest congratulations for all the students who worked hard and of course have been able to be admitted into the school. The admissions process was indeed competitive, and I'm happy to see that all of you are here on campus. I also know that as you spend the next days and weeks, you would have come out of your homes. You may be missing homes. You may be missing your parents. All of that as part of learning and growing up effort. And we are here to help you, to support you, to mentor you, to guide you, to make you feel comfortable. Just reach out to us. All our offices and our faculty members, into the deans, are very accessible. Do not hesitate to reach out to us if there's anything that we can do to make your life better and more meaningful. Thank you and congratulations. I want to apologize the fact that I'll be leaving shortly because, in 2009, when we had one school and we started the tradition of having a commencement lecture, which as Vice Chancellor I would attend, and I thought it was a good idea. And then we had 2 schools, and then 5, and then 10, and then 12 schools. So in 3 days, I'm doing 12 commencement lectures, and I'm there everywhere. So I will seek your excuse. I have already apologized to the chief guest, but it will be my pleasure to separately come and talk to you as you settle down in the school. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, a very warm welcome to all the students who will be starting their journey in psychology at Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling, to all the esteemed speakers and JSPC faculty. I welcome you all to the JSPC Commencement Lecture. I am Professor Kirti Tyagi, and I'm here to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to a distinguished personality, a scientist with 35 plus years of experience and a visionary, Dr. Sushil Chandra. Dr. Chandra is currently the head of the department at School of Education, Rishihood University, and has recently retired from the position of Scientist G and Associate Director, Head of Cognitive Control and Machine Learning Division, Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, DRDO, Government of India. Sir pursued his PhD in neurocognition from Netaji Subhash Institute of Technology, New Delhi, and since then he has been working in the field of cognition within INMA's DRDO since last 35 years. His core focus area include assessment of neurocognition by developing new algorithms through artificial intelligence and machine learning, and improving the neurocognition using latest technology such as augmented reality, virtual reality, and traditional approaches such as meditation and music. His broader research areas include cognitive neuroscience, biomedical technology, artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented reality, experimental psychology, and cognitive rehabilitation. Sir has over 40 plus publications in various national and international journals and has coordinated multiple research projects between various professional and educational institutions like Indian Institute of Technologies, Ministry of India, and INMA's DRDO. Dr. Chandra's remarkable achievement and contribution to the field of defense and cognition research have earned him a reputation as a visionary leader and as an outstanding scientist. Today, as we invite Dr. Sushil Chandra, we are privileged to have the opportunity to learn from his wealth of knowledge and experience. For today's lecture, Sir will be speaking on the topic of cognitive change and challenges in metaverse. So without further awaiting, please join me in giving a round of applause as we welcome Dr. Sushil Chandra to the podium.
Can I put it here? Can I use it here? No, no issue. No issue. Just keep it. Yeah.
आप PPT खोल दो, मैं एक डिवाइस
उसमें वीडियो
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I'm thankful of the Vice Chancellor and no doubt Kirti, and because of her, I'm able to interact with you. I'll say only 2 lines about my intro also further, because I know it's a commencement lecture, so lots of people who are, as VC said already, that they are just new to the university system. I'm basically from technical background, which I think Kirti might have already explained. I did my BTech in electronics. Then after that, I did my MTech in the field of biomedical engineering. I'm sure many of you might be aware about that field. But now, since last more than 17, 18 years, I started my journey in the field of neurocognition. So many of the questions which I've been facing it, even including my alumnus also, they say that how being a tech person, you are into the field of psychology. Because at present they know my profile that I am in School of Education and Psychology. But that's how I am able to streamline my journey. And I'll share that story also. Because once I was working in the field of biomedical engineering, so there are multiple dimensions of biomedical engineering itself. We call it bioengineering, medical engineering, clinical engineering, rehabilitation engineering. In developed world, it is known as one more field, which is biotechnology area, which is tissue engineering. So in tissue engineering in India normally comes into the biotech area, while in case of that place, it is part of biomedical engineering. Anyhow, cut short, I was one of the expert member in Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, where the lots of projects are sanctioned at national level, which are multiple institution, NGO, GO, together they try to work for the people who are differently abled. And because I was part of them, being the sanctioning body over there, then I was realizing the least work has been done in India related to MR. MR is mental rehabilitation. Because if we are talking about hearing impaired, visually impaired, there are lots of work. But related to MR part, the least work was there. And I felt it, let me start my journey. But because I was paid from defense budget, so I have to work for defense. So one of the biggest challenge was for me, how to mix together. So that I am working for defense, but I am able to work for my passion also. That's how I started searching, and then I felt it the most good piece of work which can be utilized was for autistic children. And that's how my journey started in cognition. But in defense, I'm using it for cognitive enhancement part, which I think I'll be able to cover it up. No doubt I'll be touching on the points which are more related to most of the fields, but because my major part of my life was in DRDO, so many of the examples might be related to defense research. But you can ask, you are open to ask me any and many questions related to that part also. So going further, as you know my topic name, if you recall my topic name, I'm talking about cognitive changes and challenges in metaverse. I'm sure everybody knows now Meta. I'm not to speak anything new, but how it is going to shape up the future, I'm doubtful many of us are fully aware about it. And why I'm saying this statement, I remember I was reading a paper approximately maybe 12 years before, which was written by a philosopher. And he made a statement while I was working already more than 17 years in the field of virtual reality also. But then the statement was, the time is going to come that we will not be able to differentiate that whether we are in virtual world or real world. Could I convey the message? We are still sitting and talking in real world, but the way metaverse is growing, the way this journey is going as fast as possible, or the way COVID made us to understand the use of these kinds of technologies. So maybe in case of the time permits, I'll show you the video also related to that, it will be actually true, which I read it earlier and I did not believe it, that whether we will be sitting and doing the meeting or the lecturing part or the interaction part, and we will not be able to differentiate whether we are actually sitting or we are sitting in the virtual world itself. So how those kinds of challenges related to that, I'll try to touch the basics, but I'll try to go for the high-tech part also. I'm sure you will permit me because I have to cover within 45 minutes, but I have to touch upon the topics. But then we will interact multiple more times if required, if you feel and if university feels for it. I'll definitely love to do that. So basic, I said cognitive changes and challenges. So I'll little touch upon what is the cognition part and why a tech person is working in the field of cognition. That also I'll try to touch. As she told about my basics, I try to cover it both sides of it. One is called as holistic side of it, because she explained that how with the help of music, meditation, we can improve our cognitive abilities and all. In addition, I've been working on the latest area. She only told about AI or ML part, which I was heading that division. But you name the tech, my group has been working. And I'm proud to say that my team, being part of DRDO, was having clinical psychologist, psychiatrist, neuroscience person, biomedical engineering person, AI person, including NMR person, EG person. Why I'm saying NMR? I'm sure, I think everybody knows about MRI now. But maybe the information which I'll share with you might be new for you. The first MRI in the whole of Asia was installed in that lab where I belong to. So the first MRI I'm talking about. So that's how the multidisciplinary area which we have been working. But we have to see from multiple perspectives the cognition also. That's how you are seeing that here, that starting from the different locations of the brain, who works for what, how they work in isolation, how they work as brain networks part, how they work as per the bends part, means maybe an EEG part. Many of you might be aware about alpha, beta, delta, theta, gamma, but how the different bends in different locations. So the whole lots of AI algorithms are required if we want to do the real-time work. I'm sure many of you might have heard about big data analytics, but brain data itself is a big data. So how it is worked out, we are working on it. We were working on it. And I'm sure as all of you are listening me, but everybody must be perceiving based on his or her own last experiences, present information processing system, future plans. Based on that, you must be doing the processing of the information. So starting from, while we are getting same information by all five senses, but perceiving it differently. So how we select the information, how we comprehend it, and then finally, God has given us wonderful gift. What is to be put in short-term memory, what is to be put in long-term memory, and what is to be put in dustbin. God has given a fine intellect part to us, that what is relevant to me and what it makes sense to my future plan. So in that sense, that's how the area of cognition I'm telling. Like as I was saying, perception part, I'm sure this example is well known to most of you. I'll go a little faster and I hope you will permit me for that. Because this picture itself and this story is well known, well heard by that. But that is how the challenge is. You might have seen one more picture in which 6 and 9. If it is 9, but if you are sitting on that side, you are seeing 6. So we perceive the same information in a different way by the different experiences. Why I'm again and again repeating this statement, I'm sure COVID has made us known how the mental health issues are coming up. And many of them are because of misperception itself. Might be what I'm trying to communicate to my friend or to my colleague or to my boss. If it is perceived differently, the whole lots of meaning. I'll give you one small story. Maybe partly I'll cover it in Hindi also. One person who was coming, he parked his vehicle in between on the road. It was heavy rain and the person went for collecting the medicine. A person like me went. He said what he doesn't have that much of a sense also, and because I was also going to that medicine shop. And then once my turn came, I went over there and I said it. You could have told him that he should know that where to park the vehicle with other people. It's already heavy rain and all. He said, no sir, he was a doctor. An accident has taken place 3 kilometers before. He had come rushing to collect the medicine for that person. So the whole perception of mine got changed within seconds. So that's how these information, which are same information, which we are perceiving differently. So the perception itself takes lots of challenges. Then as I was telling you that attention, for me, being a part of defense, we have worked on anything and everything, starting from designing the experiment to conducting the experiment and finally improving that. For example, if I am saying attention, we have worked on how to improve sustained attention. I'll give you two examples related to defense and civilian both. All of you might have traveled by metro, might have traveled by air, and all of your luggage gets scanned. For how long that person is scanning it, and he is seeing that. And if by mistake, if he does one fraction of millisecond, if your luggage is passing and something is there which is alarming, and if he misses that, what will happen? You all can imagine. So in that case, the kinds of example, and we have developed how to improve their sustained attention with the help of meditation as well as with the help of virtual reality training. So I'm giving you in parallel example also. So I'm not teaching here because I think your faculty can teach much better than me. Related to comprehension part, I think how do we comprehend? I'll again try to give one defense example. In case of high altitude, a person firstly do the Reiki, that how many enemies, at which angle, how they are sitting. So firstly, if he is able to do the Reiki, and then he or she has to completely explain in such a way so that whole people, whole team who is going to fight later is able to comprehend properly. Can you understand that part? So with that comprehension, as I told you, the different part of the brain are responsible for. Again, I'll put you a joke on memory part, For me, because of being a tech person, earlier memory was memory. But then after that, I thought, okay, short term, long term, medium term memory and on. Then I came to know, no, working memory is still different than short term memory. Then I understood visual working memory is different than auditory working memory. In Hindi, I can explain like, मुझे सुना हुआ याद है या देखा हुआ याद है या सुने हुए याद की वजह से देखा हुआ है. So I'll explain again in English, like because I had heard him 20 years before, so I was able to recognize him because of his voice or because of his face. So multiple other challenges, see, these all the things are very, very important in case of a defense or security scenario. So that's how you are seeing the different kinds of memory, maybe kinds of episodic memory. If a good or bad episode also has happened with you, I'm sure you must be knowing that you can remember that the whole life. So with that, I think we try to work on multiple factors, but few of the factors mainly related to planning, working memory, attention, problem solving. I'll try to touch only one topic, like in case of I go for planning or if I go for decision making. For you might be decision making, might be only a decision making, but for a fighter pilot, can you imagine? It's not decision making, it is an instant decision making because fraction of milliseconds he get it to make the decision. 1. 2. It is not only an instant decision making, it's an instant and correct decision making. Not only he will lose his life, maybe we may lose the war itself. So how the importance related to decision making, planning, thinking. I am giving you continuously again the more related to defense example, but you can, for example, if you are a stock market player, I am sure multiple factors of this have to be remembered. What the latest government policy has come related to steel. Suppose you are going to pick up a Tata Steel stock. What Tata Steel earlier quarter report, financial report has said it. What yesterday has been a new induction in case of Tata Steel. So multiple factors you are remembering, and then also you are seeing the financial investment part, and then you are taking the decision. So multiple factors do get important, and multiple these cognitive challenges keeps on coming. But what happens? Cognitive abilities declines if any kinds of stresses are there. If somebody has met with his wife, his emotional trauma could play a major role. Somebody has got a huge financial challenge, that itself. So psychological, physiological, physical. Physical means if you are in minus 30 degree, your cognitive abilities works differently. And if you are in plus 50 degree, because in case of a defense, Indian defense, it is already faced. So that will be different. So multiple, all these kinds of, I think working memory I have covered. So let me go further. Let me go. So finally, what has happened? Many of you feel it. AI is a cognitizer or a cognitive load. Can anybody try to be interactive a little? I'm not able to hear. Cognitive load. Okay, fine. I'll ask another question. How many of you use Google Maps? I think all? Everyone? But do you feel that it is beneficial or harmful? How many of you say that beneficial? I'm one of them. So many. How many of you feel that it is harmful also? Okay, here it is not an interactive session, so I'll explain also why did I ask that, How many of you have been meditators? Fine, wonderful. I'm sure most of you must be knowing visualization is one of the best God gift to us. So if I have gone to his house, and first time once I have gone to his house, I'll try to register the information. So I'm trying to teach cognition now. So I'll register the information. So I'll remember that after 3 kilometers I had taken a right turn. Then after that there was a red color building. From there I took a left turn. And then after that there was a blue house in front of that house is his house. Correct? So that's how I'm registering the information. But what will happen once I'll go second time? If the Google map is not there, I'll try to recall. So register, recall improves our visualization capabilities, which are not challenged today. I'm sure many of you, have you heard our words like cognitive gym, brain gyms? 1, 2, few. Why it is required now? Go to the physical gym, you will get an answer. Why the physical gyms are required? Because now we are not physically fit because of the lifestyle. So in case of lifestyle challenges are going to happen, that's how I'm going to cognitive changes and challenges, which are anyhow coming. I'll try to cover my last earlier PhD Chambers lecture in which I said ChatGPT to make you lighter. ChatGPT or AI part of this is kind of a smart secretary. My meaning was smart secretary can be afforded only by a smarter boss. Could I convey the message? There is going to be a huge digital divide because of AI. Many of us will forget even how to write an application for leave because now it won't be required. So even the basic ability which is known as a thinking ability is going to be drastically different. I'll not say drastically down, drastically different for different people who are going to use it as a smarter boss. They'll definitely be able to perform much better. So what my meaning is, as you see over here, the task duration continuously now is decreasing. The number of tasks which we are trying to perform, suppose in 1 minute I was earlier working for 30 tasks and now I'm supposed to work for maybe 300 tasks. So the multiplication of tasks is taking place. And because of machine intelligence, as I gave you an example related to AI, because of AI, machine intelligence is continuously increasing and increasing. But we do not know what is happening to human intelligence part. So that means what I'm trying to convey, that cognitive demand is continuously increasing. And on that dimensions, what you have to do, you have to enhance the cognition part. So in that, what we were working on, cognitive enhancement, which I think I explained to you, We were trying to do it in multiple ways, starting, as I told you, from music to meditation. Like meditation itself, we worked on art of living. How many of you have done Sudarshan Kriya? Okay. We worked on Brahma Kumari's Raj Yoga meditation. How the kinds of improvements, or let me use the brain activation, which otherwise never takes in our whole life, which takes place in case of meditation. So that's how we are able to train our brain in such a way with the help of meditation. I'm not a converser of that because I've been practicing meditation since last more than 23 years. But I do convey, in case of tech part, as you are seeing here, virtual reality and augmented reality, which the topic is also metaverse, I'm sure you know that. The kinds of facilitation is done with the help of technology. It's wonderful. And because of that reason, because you are, most of you are too young, so I'll make one more statement, which I normally make it. All of us, I'll use 3 words. Pehle. Tech savvy, tech dependent, and tech slave. Did you hear all 3 words? You recall that? Now I'll phrase the statements. All of us should be tech savvy. We should not be tech dependent. And we should never be. But what is happening, I think you know much better than me. Why I'm quoting this particular example also, I normally quote it. I'm still staying in a defense colony because of my DRDO network, DRDO colony. There only we have got 2-3 shops. So one shop, if I purchase one thing, fine. But the moment I purchase second thing, he starts calculating it using calculator. Did you understand? And the basic unit of, not mathematics, arithmetic is addition. So that means our basic addition abilities are degrading drastically. So that's what I'm trying to say, that we have to work on our cognition. So with that, last tech wala part, because I'm still covering, because I know the time limits, and I'll leave it in between wherever you say that your time is over. AI is one technology. Because of being tech, 6G, I'm sure 5G, 6G, everybody knows. Now I'm not to say that. Immersive technology, which is virtual reality, augmented reality, everybody know that. I think because of Elon Musk, everybody know about neurotech part also. So I'm not to introduce that also. But these are penetrating in our life with such a fast pace. If you say next moment, it has changed. Why I'm making this particular statement, you may laugh. One of my students, he is presently working in London, working in the field of AI. And he is a visionary guy. And he is working for Europe, whole Europe. And that's why he say that what I predict, or my team predicts, that this will come after a quarter, comes next week. That's the pace of technology. The person who is sitting in London. So you can imagine, with that kind of a technology forecaster, he is not able to match this pace. So anyhow, if these are happening, I think you'll be getting more clarity. Let you give 30 seconds on this whole block. I'm not speaking. This itself is a self-explanatory. Because of AI, again, the metaverse is in the center. AI itself is a part of the metaverse itself. VR itself is a part of cognition. Cognition itself is a part of multiple other things. So that is how this work is going on. And I'm lucky enough being a part of DRDO, because we have been working, if not all, almost all circles which you are seeing over here. And with that pace, in case if these technologies are penetrating, I'll give you one simple example related to. I'm sure most of you must have played video games. Most of you. But you must have seen, in case of video game, if after 3 seconds or maybe 30 seconds, if one character which comes from the left side, always comes from the left side only. Is that correct? And the same character always comes. But in case if AI becomes the part of video gaming, next time the person, at that same second, the character will come from this side, not from this side. Character may be changed character. It may not be a single character, there might be 2 or 3 or multiple teams might be. So AI in case of generation of VR itself is utilized for that reason. I have given you one simple example, and why I am giving that because as VC said it, many of students who are UG first year have done the internship in part of my DRDO journey, and they started the journey, they were not knowing what is VR AR, and once the 6 months intern was over, they were able to design the complete VR module which is to be used for defense. So it is such user friendly. I'm sure in case if you know about gaming, how the gaming is made, Unity 3D and Unreal Engine, these are the two major engines which whole world is working on. Unity 3D is mainly the major engine because they create the patches every moment. So that's how I was trying to say that metaverse is now, I was talking to VC in his cabin. The kinds of billions of dollars have been invested in Meta in such a way that whether we like it or not, whether the technology changes with that fast pace or not, but it will come, it has come. So with that, in case if we don't update and upgrade ourselves, that still our abilities not only remains intact, but rather gets improved. That was my work area. So that's what I'm sharing. Whether it is, you name the field in which, starting from gaming. Gaming itself, if you feel it, I can take multiple sessions itself. Because we started our journey, single player game, multiplayer game, single player 2D game, single player 3D games, multiplayer 3D games. Then we started our journey into augmented reality and virtual reality. So we have gone step by step. Luckily, because Kirti had visited my lab, I cannot invite you now because I am not part of DRDO, but I'll request in case if anyone of you can visit the labs of such nature, you will get an exposure. And last but not the least, I said few headsets should be a part of our psychology school itself. That's what is my suggestion in case if you can make it, because it's not a toy now. It's a usable journey. It's a journey which is preparing you for future. So that's a part of that. So anyway, I will again give you few examples related to that. Sorry. Like for example, in case of virtual reality, how many of you have heard about a problem known as PTSD? Good. So everybody know about post-traumatic stress disorder. But how many of you are aware about that virtual reality plays a very wonderful role to treat PTSD? How many of you can raise? Good, I'm happy. So these are the areas you can work in cognitive enhancement, you can work with the defense, you can work with mental health issues, you can work in the field of clinical psychology, social psychology, you can work on, which was my last journey. I think I have not brought the slide also. I was working in the field of human-machine teaming. I'll explain in maybe 30 seconds. If it is a completely autonomous system, if the war is completely by only UAVs, only unmanned tank and things like that, then it is fine. But if human in the loop or human on the loop, you understood the difference between two? In the loop means, suppose she's a robot and I am the one. She also can take the decision, but I also can take the decision, then human in the loop. But if final decision is to be taken by me only, then human on the loop. So these are the kinds of challenges. I am sure Russia, Ukraine war, everybody have seen that lots of fighter pilots with UAVs, with tanks, with teams of human, they are fighting together. And how the cognitive level challenges they are working on. I am again proud to quote my earlier lab. we were working on team cognition also, in which virtual and real character would fight with each other, and at that time there are brain recording, wearing virtual reality headsets, and how they'll be able to use it. Maybe I'll give you that example also. For example, if we two are fighting in virtual game, and he has killed those maybe 90 enemies, and I am able to kill only 60 enemies, who is the winner? He is the winner. But what we were doing, we were putting EG headset also on both the heads. He was able to exhaust his 98% or 99% of brain resources, while I was able to use only hardly 10% of my brain resources. Now who is the winner? Because in case of adversaries, I'll be still able to use my brain resources which are still remaining. So these are the kinds of work which we have been doing it. So anyway, going on. So again, I'll touch slowly related to virtual reality, where we were using virtual reality to develop for all these training modules which you are seeing in down. This is the video in case. You can just step it on. So what you were seeing that based on virtual reality, you can do the skill training and you can do the cognitive training, both. Let me tell you the difference both. Skill training, if I'm going to be a fighter pilot, if you are training me how to fly an aircraft, is a part of skill training. But if you are improving my decision making and working memory and planning for flying, so again I am flying better, but that's through cognitive training. So that's a major difference, I'm sure, because I was not able to communicate to a lot my lieutenant generals and people like that, because most of them were actually trained based on skill training part. So I'm sure because all of you are, like I'm showing you this is not my work. It is, if you are seeing virtual reality cognitive performance assessment test. I'm sure most of you might be knowing, if in case if you are going to test that somebody is in depression or anxiety or not, there are standardized tests. I'm sure everybody knows that. But do you know that it started with paper pencil? Now it is computerized. But this has been developed in 1998 based on virtual reality cognitive performance assessment test in university which is in US, and the institute name is Institute of Creative Technology. Professor Parsons' group have been working in that. No doubt I'm able to still proudly say that my lab has already developed VR-based test battery related to cognition also. But that's the way we are lacking. While the technology now is helping us in such a way, because they worked on, like I had one headset which is in kgs. I'm sure most of you might be knowing about HMDs. Virtual reality based HMDs, because now Google has brought it, Microsoft has brought it, Meta has brought it. So Meta headset also might be, many of you might be aware about it. So which are now very easy to use, very light in weight. But at that time, world leader Anheuser Germany, I had that headset which was in kgs. So you can imagine. So we can work on these test battery development itself for many kinds of fields. As I gave you a few examples, I'll tell you one example because one of my students who is presently a postdoc in IIT Delhi, she was working in association with Medanta for post-stroke patients, and after stroke, if their cognitive decline has taken place, how to do that rehabilitation part with the help of virtuality. We had gotten ethical permission in Medanta, but unluckily that time COVID came. After that, she went for postdoc and all. So that's how that journey was not troubled. Though I am trying to say this. These are the few application areas where you can work on. I'm sure this slide is self-explanatory, but then I'll try to take you that it's going to be so merged. Physical space and virtual space. The first row tells about the actual space, then is the virtual space, and then the time is going to come, which I told you few minutes before, that we will not be able to differentiate whether we are in digital space or in a real space. So with that, the kinds of challenges or the kinds of information which brain will be struggling with, you can imagine. I think let me leave that because I had brought few multiple videos, but now because I have already gone, leave it. So I have given you an example related to cognitive rehabilitation. Cognitive rehabilitation starting from autism to ADD to ADHD to dementia, because one of my students, she was doing PhD from IIT Patna. She was working with dementia. So these are the examples which I am giving related to rehab part. I think this is again a slide. We are Reha means again rehab part. So this could have given you the dimension. If you want, you can type it and see in YouTube later. So that's what, because of short of time, I'm going faster. Okay, it has anyhow started.
Unsere geistige Leistung, unsere Kognition basiert auf der Funktion unseres Gehirns. Im Alter passiert es oft, dass wir bestimmte Leistungen verlernen.
How many of you play chess?
Auch bei neurologischen Erkrankungen.
So you remember that, how many advanced planning and things like that?
Herausforderung an die Klinik, an die Forschung und wir erhoffen uns auch neue Impulse durch neue technische Entwicklungen.
V-Reha is a digital toolbox that uses virtual reality technology to improve the individualized diagnosis and rehabilitation of neuropsychological patients. Up till now, the systematic observation of COVID.
So I'm sorry, I'm leaving it in between because of paucity of time. I'm sure you must have understood. My vision was the way technology and the way HMD and neuroscience is taking fast pace. I'm visualizing every clinical psychologist minimum in India also will have these technologies on their table and they will be using it. Because I'm already working with few clinical psychologists itself. And we in Rishihood have started now developing human augmentation lab in which psychology, my school itself will have both VR, AR itself as well as neuro part itself, and their whole team is working on that part. So with that, I think there are a few negative parts. I will not show more because I have partly told you that smart secretary can be afforded only by a smarter boss. So in case if we don't use any of these technology in a much smarter way, a huge cognitive decline is going to take place in place of cognitive enhancement. Because everything can be utilized in both ways, like blade, whether it was I'm using it for shaving or for pickpocketing, it depends on me. So every tech has got both sides of the coin. I'm sure I have tried to convey the message. I'll stop it here because there are multiple more slides. I'm not going. I know because the time is over. And in case if you feel like I have been able to convey what I wanted to, I can ask few questions if time permits. If somebody wants to know something more, I'll try to answer that. But these are, I have given you more related to meditation example, more related to defense example, more related to rehab example. But if you remember my earlier slide, these both neurocognition as well as VR, AR, as well as AI are useful in any and many disciplines. Even if I take an example related to education, because my part is education also. Why I'm saying, because now I'm part of education. Earlier I used to introduce myself that scientist is my profession, but education is my passion. But now I am with my passion itself. So what my meaning is, unless we are with the technological pace, but it is going to be positively utilized. The society which is going to come, we can't imagine. So with that, I'll end it here. Open for questions. If no questions, I'll put you a joke. Yeah.
There's a lot of really smart people out there that are warning about the rise of AI and the potential really serious ramifications of that on society and the world as a whole. I'm just wondering what you think of that.
I think I strongly agree with you, but again I am saying it is to be used properly. And tools, if it is in good hands, it is going to shape up that way. Same tool. But if it is in, let me not use the negative word, but I'm compelled because of the question. If it is same tool is in terrorist hand, it will work differently. So what my message was there, I don't know whether I could convey or not. Technology will anyhow come, and we should welcome also. But we should be smart enough to handle the tech part. So that is why I normally try to answer his question in a different way. We should not lose HI because of AI. And HI is human intelligence. We should improve HI because of AI. So it's on us. But AI is a double-edged sword. Everybody knows it. I can't make a comment. There are lots of positive things. Even if I give you an example related to psychology, suppose in Haryana, I want to work only on females' data. And I want to see that how many of them, if I'm going to screen the behavioral health of females in Haryana. I think this must have been understood by everyone. But then huge data which is possible because of AI, I'll be able to interpret in real time that whether the person who was suffering from depression related to females, whether they were educated or uneducated, whether they were belonging to village or the urban background, whether their parents were educated or uneducated, whether there was a correlation between multiple factors in multiple dimensions, which is a possibility which was not earlier by those statistical tools which were earlier explained to our psychological students. So lots of benefits are also there. So we should take only the positive aspects of it. That's my short answer. Yeah.
You had said a statement like be tech savvy and not tech dependent and a tech slave. So do you have any like tips or brain work for like improving our cognitive processing and everything?
Yeah, I'm not allowed also, but we have the complete experimental. That's what I said, starting from basic experimental design to complete training module we have worked on. So we have worked on it that in case technology, whether I gave the clear-cut example that in case of virtual reality, I'll tell you that one of the student whom I was quoting, she was working on spatial navigation. SPATIAL, spatial navigation part. And I'm sure most of you must be aware about our General Rawat's death. Times of India, there were headlines. Do you know because the cause, what was the cause? If you have read it, if you are able to recall, is spatial disorientation of the pilot. And we were already working on the kinds of developing those training modules so that you can work on a spatial ability, which no doubt covers spatial disorientation part also. So what I'm trying to say that the tech definitely plays a wonderful role. With the help of virtual reality, we were able to give the virtual challenges, because I can't put actual fighter plane and a fighter pilot in real challenge and then evaluate it. It's not feasible. But based on VR, which were earlier my few slides and videos, in real scenario, you cannot give those challenges. So you cannot train your brain in real scenarios. But lots of those things can be done in virtual scenario. So tech can be utilized. So that's why I said tech savvy. And tech dependent, I have already given you a simple example related to addition. Tech slave, I think most of you understand much better than me. We have got lots of anxiety issue in case if I have lost my mobile. I don't want to quote all those negative examples. So I was not answering for that. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. I hope time is available. Yeah.
Hi, sir. Thank you so much for your talk. My question is in reference to the video that we saw regarding the war situation. So I'm a little critical of the fact that if it actually works or not, because if you are putting individuals under a VR headset, there is some sort of safety net that they can fall on if they fail, because they know that it's not real. And so I just wanted to ask if there is any empirical evidence that you can see that it actually works.
Okay, in my own lab it works. Earlier one, I think I forgot that. I'll give you an example of mine itself. I went to Gurgaon, and Gurgaon there is a company, again a startup, but no doubt they are working, I think now from years. And they had developed a training module for HR. And HR is for civil construction worker selection, but for Dubai, where high-rise buildings are to be made. And that environment was that there was a glass lift. In virtual reality headset only, I was going through that lift. I was on 25th floor. He asked me, sir, come out of, and it was complete glass. So in virtual reality. So he said, come on the balcony. I could not put my feet out. And it was in virtual reality. And that kind of immersive and interactive modules are possible. I'll give you another example. One of my colleagues, she was a defense scientist in DIPR, Defense Institute of Psychological Research. I'm sure many of you might have heard about it. That's a DRDO unit. She had gone 12 years before in Australia, and there she said that if there is a pit which is only 1 foot wide, you can cross it. I think anybody can cross it. If I add one more dimension, then you answer yes or no. He said that pit was only 100 meters deep. Now can you cross it? She said that I saw it in virtual reality and I never crossed it. Well, she was knowing that she is in a room. So the kinds of technology has given positive aspect. I think your question has got two aspects. Another aspect which you were saying that earlier lots of people had the nausea feeling because of that reason, wearing for 10 minutes of that. Lots of technological issues have already been sorted out, which were earlier because of frame rates and things like that. And many of them which are being known now are being sorted out. But metaverse is anyhow coming. I don't know whether I could answer you. Yeah, fine. Yeah, please. Okay. If any question is remaining. No. Yeah, she's there. One. And he has said it last.
My question was, is it possible to recreate virtual memories to benefit people with memory-based neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's?
Answer is there is a whole lots of report. I'll tell you the name also, you can surf it. Sharp Brain. And in Sharp Brain, they have used just a simple video gaming training for Alzheimer and Parkinson's both. So your question answer is yes. Lots of these tools are already being used. We are a little slow in India, and I'm sure most of schools like this will become much faster.
Thank you.
Okay, that was allowed last question. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was indeed a fascinating talk, and I'm so glad to see the excitement of all these students. And I'm sure that these are all the newly admitted students, and it's so heartening to see successive batches of students at the School of Psychology and Counseling. And I was just checking with the Dean of Admissions and Outreach. This is perhaps the third batch. So congratulations to the Dean of the school, the faculty member, and to all the students, and of course the Office of the Admissions and Outreach. And my special greetings to all the newly admitted students. Now you're part of this university, and after having heard such an interesting talk by Dr. Sushil Chandra, this is what I could say you can expect at the School of Psychology and Counseling, and overall at the O.P. Jindal Global University. At the heart of the university's functioning are the cardinal principles of interdisciplinarity and pluralism and globalism and engagement, both with national and international societies. So therefore, as responsible university students, since now you have greater freedoms, we would only ask you to exercise your responsibility with discretion, and most importantly, as cognition is so very significant, it's also pertinent to note that good cognitive skills are needed for knowledge construction as well. So I wish and I appeal to each one of you to take the fullest advantages of the stay at the university during your studies over here. On this particular note, I thank the speaker, and I also wish all the students and faculty members the very best as we proceed further with our new academic session. Thank you so much.
A very, very good afternoon to all of you. I have the very pleasant task of bringing all of this to an end. So it has been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be part of the commencement lecture for the 23 batch of Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling. I want to thank Dean Derek. This has been a wonderful experience working with him very closely together as part of the Office of Admissions and Outreach. I have my colleague, Mr. Harsh Ranjan Sinha here, and colleagues from the admissions office. Actually, I want to start by thanking my colleagues, and they have been doing an incredible job reaching out to all of you and helping you and supporting you through your admissions process. I hope you've settle down. I hope you have had an easy and accessible entry into the university. I hope you all are having a good time. This is the very beginning, and I'm sure there couldn't have been a better beginning than Dr. Chandra's talk today that sets the tone for the days to come and what you are about to learn and experience at Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling. I want to tell you that as the Office of Admissions and Outreach, we have been in touch with you through the admission process, but our job does not end just because you're here. You know us, you know all my colleagues, so please do not hesitate to reach out to us if there are any challenge, any concern, or even if it is all good and you want to tell us that you're happy and doing well. I know that many of you are coming and staying in a hostel for the first time, and this could be while a lot of fun and excitement and adventure. For some of you, it could also be a bit daunting. Many of you staying away from parents and family and siblings and friends for the first time. We try and create an ecosystem here where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you are at a home away from home. So if there is anything that we could do to make that process smoother or more convenient for you, then please do not hesitate to reach out to us. I also want to thank all the colleagues at Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling, the faculty, the administrative staff, who have been an absolute pillar of support to the admissions and outreach team through this process of bringing in the batch of 2023. I wish you all the very best. I want to assure you that this is going to be the most exciting and most enriching part of your life's journey. This is the beginning of something exciting that you're going to embark on. And do know that all of us are here to support you, guide you, and be there for you in the process. Thank you once again, and welcome to OP Jindal Global University.
All right, to finish up, thank you, Professor Upasana, Professor Sherdar. If I get Professor Kirti join me, and we'll felicitate our chief speaker. So if you could join us on stage, please. All right, so for the new students out there, you may not know this. This is a common gift we give for our distinguished guests at OP Jindal. You will notice that we have 12 different lines, 12 different colors representing the 12 schools of JGU. So Dr. Chand, thank you very much for joining us today. And as a memento to recognize your visit today, thank you again. And thank you. We appreciate all of you coming out today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. So thank you all again.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Nice meeting you. Really fantastic.
Hey, congratulations.
The technology science, right?
Sure, Derek.
Oh, sure. Did we get a picture of the audience yet? Did we get a picture of the audience? Yes, yes. Okay. For all the students out there, that concludes today's event. Thank you very much. And I'm sure you're all thrilled. We do request that you head back to your next class. All right, and before the faculty disperses, we would like to get a quick picture with our speaker today. All right, thank you again. We appreciate it.